All right, so we're here today to discuss fatherhood and masculinity in whatever context we so choose to speak. We're allowed to, talk about this freely. So, first of all, I'd just like to ask, go around the room. Um, do you want to be a father or not?
For me, yes, 100%.
Yeah, same for me as well.
Cool. Yeah, I would also aspire to be a father. The next, the next question I'd ask is, okay, what does fatherhood mean to you? And the reason why I go into this is because, obviously, like, I guess walking into marriage, I started to think about, what's my future like? What's fatherhood looking like? What's my thoughts, fears, and aspirations of being a father? So it'll be good to open that dialogue with you guys. And see, okay, what does fatherhood mean to you?
I think before we speak about fathers, we also have to remember your husband first. So how you treat your wife will be how you treat your children. If we actually take it back and look in the Bible, in Timothy it says about respecting your wives and being faithful for them, not being a lover of money and caring for them. I feel like those three things, if you treat your wife in that same way, you will essentially treat your children in that way. So for me, I think about fatherhood as protection, being faithful to them, respecting them, and also allowing them to make their mistakes, nurturing them, and teaching them in the way of the Lord so that they do not depart from it. I also feel like we need to split between culture and religion, because culturally we know certain things have been put into children that are technically not true, and then you mix it with religion. I feel like we need to split the two and remember that your children are your prize, but also remember that they should be allowed to make their mistakes, because it's from their mistakes that they will learn more, and you should be there to comfort them at all times. So I would say as a father, have empathy and understand them, and to understand them, spend time with them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with most of what Philip said. I guess fatherhood is it's kind of like a legacy thing, because I think in Ecclesiastes where it said, okay, yeah, or rather, in other places in scripture, you brought nothing in the world, you can't take anything out. You can buy stuff, you can have possessions, etc., etc. But you leave things behind by the people you impact, and then also when you look at it in like a biological way, you leave behind your DNA, your own kind of lineage, so to speak. Um, I guess fatherhood to me has been informed by seeing our own dad, and also when you read through scripture through by God the Father. More so, I mean, okay, I'm not one of those people that said, yeah, God of the Old Testament was a bad God, God of the New Testament was a good God. I'm not trying to say that, but in the sense that Jesus is the express revelation of the Father, and everything he did was done in such a way that he didn't do anything that God the Father never wanted to do. So that kind of love and care that he showed to people is that same kind of love and care that I guess as a father you'd want to show to your own children. Yes, you don't have to be a father to show love and care to other people. I'm not saying that. But I guess a lot of people have said that fatherhood gives them a new perspective on life, because before, okay, for people who have children in the context of marriage anyway, before marriage, you only really think about yourself. When you're married, it's you and your wife. Once you become a father, it's like, oh, Now you start thinking, I need to write a will. I need to get life insurance. You know, you now start thinking in a broader context of things. So fatherhood kind of makes you to be, can I say, less selfish, if that's fair to say.
Yep, I would second that and say fathers have to always remember what type of legacy do you want to leave.
Yeah.
The type of legacy that you want to leave
Yeah.
is how people will remember you. When you die, people will not remember you for the car that you drove. They won't remember you for the houses that you bought. They will remember the character. When your children are speaking about you at your funeral, you would want them to speak of you in a great reputation. So being a father is a very deep meaning, and how you lay your foundations will ultimately we'll see how it will pan out. If you lay your foundations in the root of God and you care for your children and you protect them, your children will succumb to that and naturally submit to you. You know, train your child in the way of the Lord so that it doesn't depart from it. Children will go astray, but they will return back to God because they will know what their father has taught them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'd also want to ask, if we're delving into masculinity as
Yeah.
well. As a father, would you guys be? How can I put this? Would you, if you had to, would you cry in front of your children?
yes.
Nah, I know.
Techie
Obviously,
one, bro.
it's techie. It depends. It depends on the circumstance. I get it. But like, okay, like, would you cry in front of them? Would you be
Like emotional.
open with them? Would you apologize if you're wrong to them?
Okay, so probably if I start ranting a bit.
Okay.
Okay, so would you? Okay, I want to start with, would you apologize to your children? Yes, because you need to show that you're not perfect. We're always gonna make mistakes. Now, I think the key is that, and the key should always be, if you're going to discipline your child needs to understand why they're being disciplined. Not so much that you're taking out your rage on them. It's like, sister so and so in church told you that your son pushed my son. You're like, my son did that to you. Do you know what home you're from? Bang, smack them, bang, bang, bang. But it's like, you ain't even asked your son, yo, why do you push him?
Yeah.
Imagine if Auntie so and so's kid was powering you and you try to defend your honor. What are you gonna do? You know, then you'd be like, oh, bro, I even know. I didn't even say sorry.
Yeah.
So, you know, first of all, if you're gonna punish your child or discipline your child rather than punish, it had to be, you know, the child needs to understand why. And then if it turns out that it was wrong, you have to say, you know what? I'm sorry. Your child, maybe they will think less of you, but as they grow older and they look back, then they'll start to realize, oh, that's actually a big thing for most of our culture.
Yeah.
You know, we know what our culture's like.
Yeah.
Would you cry in front of your child? Hey man, Jesus cried in front of his disciples.
That's a fair point.
You know, and Jesus was a rabbi, and we got to remember that. Okay, apart from Peter and a couple of disciples, James and John were said to be very, very young. But let's talk about late teen, early 20s, where Jesus in his 30s. They're calling you rabbi. In Jewish culture, a rabbi like a surrogate father. So Jesus kind of like their father. And he still wept in front of them when Lazarus died. Even on the cross, at that moment of weakness, you know, he did show that, you know, my Lord, why have you forsaken me? You know, so if God has given us the ability to cry, we can't try to like suppress that because of what society says.
Yeah. What about you, Philip?
I think in terms of Discipline. For me, I will never hit my child.
You won't hit your child.
Yeah.
No.
No rod. No rod.
No, nothing.
Bruv, the Bible said to drive out the devil from them.
I don't need to. I don't need to.
Mm.
I feel like by the time you have spoken to them in a stern manner, they will understand that their father is not happy with them.
Mm.
Once you are calmly spoken, I'm a calmly spoken person. But if I now raise my tone a little bit and change my countenance, you will know that your father is not happy. And he will say certain things that will not offend you, but he will say it in a way for you to understand, and you will realize that what I did was wrong. I don't need to hit you. For me, if you're hitting someone, you're hitting an animal. If you're hitting somebody, I need to be so annoyed that I have lost my mind to come and hit you. I don't need to do that. There's other ways of disciplining your child. Take their PlayStation away. Take their TV away. Ground them. Say that you're not going to that party. You're not going to here. You're not going to here. Give them chores. Tell them to go and wash your car. And then after that, they don't get no pocket money. They will learn. They will learn. By the time they have finished washing their mom's car, your dad and their dad's car, and then you tell them, okay, go and sweep the floor.
But
They
it's
will.
not like you're speaking
They
from
will.
experience.
They will know.
Wow. Wow.
They will know.
Okay.
And by the time you do that, they will realize that what they did was wrong and they will change. In terms of apologizing to your children, correct, 100%.
Okay.
But I will go further. You apologize to your children if you've done wrong to them. But the biggest apology will be changed behavior.
Okay.
You can apologize, but you can still be doing the same thing you're doing. Your child can come to you and say, well, you haven't changed that. That will hurt you more than anything. So change behavior is very important. I also feel like in terms of being emotional in front of your children, yes, because we are in a society where people are battling up their feelings left, right, and center, and then when it comes out in a way that you yourself will not be able to handle it. So being emotional with your child is very important. So it shows them it is okay to be okay. But even when you're not okay, we serve a living Father who will make you okay. So I personally feel like be emotional in front of your children. Teach your sons that it's okay to be emotional. Yes, you have to be strong. The man of the house, you are the head. But it's okay to be emotional. So it allows them to, number one, know about their feelings, know how to internalize their feelings, know how to bring their feelings out. And it also brings you closer as a family as well. So if they are going through trials of life, everyone will get tested. They will go to their mom, they'll go to their father and say that I am going through this. The first thing you do is you listen to what they're going through. You pray. After you have prayed, you speak life into your child. By the time you've done that a good number of times, they will realize that what they are going through is just a test, but they will be able to overcome it with God by their side.
Nice. Last one. In terms of legacy that was mentioned earlier, what types of legacies do you aspire to leave behind as a father, as a man?
That's a deep question, you know? It's a very deep one. As a father, I want to leave a legacy behind for them to know that God was always faithful in your father's life. That God never left your father. That we served God diligently as a family and individually, so that their children will be able to follow the same way, so that we will all have eternal life. And when it is all said and done, we will all meet in heaven and sit on the right side of God in heaven. That's the type of legacy I would want to leave as a father. As a man, my purpose in life is to help people work and help people. You know, you may not be able to help everybody, but from the experiences that you have, you will be able to have wisdom and knowledge of understanding that will allow you to be a listener, but also speak life and positive affirmations to people. For me, that's the type of man that I want people to remember me to remember me by. Not by the car, not by the house. Those are just things that you, when you achieve a level of success, that's what God blesses you with. But it's about what is in your heart and how you live your purpose and the way you walk in Christ. That is how I want people to remember me by.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of had to approach that question based on what I've seen. You know, our dad is still around, so I can't talk from the perspective like a son to the father, but our grandfather, so paternal grandfather, who, you know, went on to glory 2008. I heard the way people talk about him, and people talk about him sometimes like he was Superman, you know, and you know, oh, he did this, he did that, he built this, he built that, and it kind of like two ways. It kind of okay. First of all, it makes you want to aspire to that level. The flip side of it is kind of like, wow, like not so much that you're daunted by it, but it's kind of like this is a heavy legacy to carry. But people only ever see one side of the story. You know, for us who are, you know, his grandchildren, his family, we see it from a multi-dimensional point of view, and we know that as much as people try to deify him, or if that's a fair word to use, he wasn't infallible. He made mistakes, and some mistakes, you know, are still kind of playing out even today. So what our dad has really tried to do is see those mistakes that our grandfather made, and with Sam and I, correct those mistakes. You know, not try to repeat those mistakes, and that's the kind of approach I want to take. So, what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? You know, whatever God uses me to do, you know, however great or small it is, I want my kid to know that without God, you're nothing. It's either you're with God or you're with the devil. There's, you know, people say hard work, this, that, okay, yeah. But we don't know what people do behind closed doors. So, whatever I achieve is with God. And I want to raise my kids in a certain way, in the way that whatever they achieve is through God. I want to leave them that kind of legacy that no matter what, like, you know, I'm going to mess up because I'm a human. But where I mess up, I want them to be able to now go to God the Father, who will never mess up for them. And I guess it's, you know, it's really trying to be Christ-like as possible, not just to, you know, to your family, to everybody else, because it's really what people see you doing. That's what they try to emulate. So that's it. I mean, you know, it might sound idealistic, but that's what I've been brought up to know. And I wouldn't want to do things any other way. And yeah.
All right. It's been a good talk. That's a wrap right there. Yeah, I hope everyone watching, wherever they're watching from, has enjoyed today's discussion. And yeah,
Happy Father's Day, guys.
Yep, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
fathers, the grandfathers, anyone who's a father or a mentor to someone, or like a father figure to someone in any capacity. Happy Father's Day to them. Even mothers that are playing that fatherly role for their kids. That's holding
Shout out to the mothers out there.
yeah, that's a wrap.
Yep, that's it.